So the recording I am making here serves as a recap, sort of a recap, and additional information and everything that you have learned from chunks 1 to 5 for your third quarter. I hope you did learn a lot through your independent learning. So this is just a substitution, a recap, before I proceed with providing additional contents and tasks next week. So as a recap for our third quarter chunk 1 for English 8, the content is focused on valuing notable features of the literatures of, we have 1, Thailand and Myanmar. So in this chunk, we talked about the history of literature of Thailand. Of course, just like the other literature, the literature of Thailand was also influenced by by the Western civilization, Chinese, and even Sanskrit and Pali from India, before it became to how is it as a modern literature now. Today, Thailand literature includes Western-style prose drama, children's literature, non-fictional prose, and so on. So, with this chunk, I gave you a reading task, which I hope you read, because this one is a really beautiful story about Makato, right? So, if you read the whole story, you will know that Makato is about an orphan whose parents died very early, so he became an orphan at a young age, and he lived in a quite challenging area from the city of Mon. Okay, that's a challenging area for him. So Makato had this dream. He had this dream of living a nicer life than the life he has or had in Mon. So there was a day when suddenly he thought of asking about the king of what was the place? I think Sukhothai. So the king was Praruang. He had this in mind at a young age, that he wanted to meet the king because he knew, he's heard that the king is a good one and a kind king. So when he was given the chance to leave the city of Mon, he went to the city where the king resides. And that was, I'm just summarizing this. And if you read the whole story, you will learn that Makato did really meet the king. He had the chance to meet the king, right? And that was the time when he found this cowrie shell, which served as a money in that time and in that kingdom. So it was like a peso, let's say peso in the Philippines, in that area. So it was like a peso, finding a peso, and then Makato called the king, I found this one cowrie shell from you, your king, your majesty. But then the king gave that one cowrie shell to him. It did not really cost that much, that one cowrie shell, but Makato, as industrious and as determined and as very wise and brilliant as he is, found a way wherein he bought seeds. I think it was seedling of lettuces, as lettuce seedling from a market. He bought it with just one cowrie shell, and then that's when he was able to grow his own farm out of that one cowrie shell. He was very determined. He is indeed a wise child, and the king did see that very good potential in him, and then he was promoted. He had this high-ranking position in the kingdom of King Praruang, and he was even able to marry the king's daughter, right? Until he became, for the ending, he became the ruler of Mon himself. So the story is very nice. It's about, let's say, poverty and how Makato was able to make it through such poverty, thinking that he was even an orphan. Okay, some of us are, let's say, poor, but we have parents with us. while Makato was a poor orphan himself, but he was still able to strive and make it through difficulties. And I think we can relate this story to us, because in the Philippines it's very evident. Poverty is very evident. You're lucky enough if you grew from a really well-off family. You're really lucky enough, and you have to make the best out of it, because people always say that not even poverty can hinder someone who is really determined. So this is just to uplift your soul from this story, this short story. I hope you encourage yourself as well, especially in pursuing your dreams. Okay, that no poverty can ever hinder someone's determination in achieving his or her dreams. For this chunk, I had questions, follow-up questions, which I hope you already answered. Others already submitted. I hope others would also submit as well. So that's for the first chunk. For the second chunk, it was about, the topic was about, was about characterization. Okay, it was about characterization. Still, it's a literary skill, one of the literary skill wherein characterization is one way of describing the characters. It's a writer's way of describing characters, whether the character is friendly. So in characterization, there are two ways. First one is direct characterization, wherein the writers make statements about a character. With indirect characterization, the writers show the character's thoughts, words, and actions, but it is our part to interpret what those actions of the character tell about the character, him or herself. Okay? So, aside from characterization, we also talked about persuasive techniques. Now, persuasive techniques, we're not studying this for the sake of you convincing your parents to buy you toys. Please don't use it in that kind of way. For this time of pandemic, we had to be practical in terms of spending money. Okay, we have to help our parents in being practical in spending money, and even I think some of you would even help your parents in your small ways in earning money. Okay, so for persuasive techniques, we have association, wherein we link a product or idea with something that is already liked. Okay, we have here examples. I know that you read these already, so this is just like a recap. Okay, we also have the bandwagon, wherein using the argument that a person should believe or do something because everybody else does it. Okay, sometimes this persuasive technique is used in a, let's say, disadvantaged way, because we have this in our peer pressure. Sometimes our peers pressure us to do something that is unfavorable by saying that everybody's doing it, so you have to do it. Okay, we have to use these persuasive techniques in a positive way. If you're going to convince someone, make sure that it's for the betterment of that someone, and of you, of course, and of everyone in your community. Okay, don't be a bad influence, BI. Be a good influence, GI. Next, testimonial. So we can see these persuasive techniques in advertisements, commercial, right? TV commercials, wherein we can see testimonial, where someone, for example, would testify the efficiency of let's say a skincare product, okay, and so on, depending on the product that the company or the advertisement is trying to sell. Another is fear, making use of someone's fear to influence. Okay, so it's like we have here in the example, it's a funny one. The solution, bad breath or failure. This is like threatening us. Of course, no one wants to have bad breath nor failure, so we are forced to, let's say, buy Colgate products or other toothpaste brands and mouthwash products. Humor, so making use of humor, using of images that make the audience laugh. This is very evident in a gay bar. I know you haven't been to one, please don't be into one yet because you're still young. So or if you watch Vice Ganda, but of course with your parental guidance, if you watch Vice Ganda is very known for his humor, okay, and persuading everyone else to laugh. Bribery. Oh, if you watch a lot of K-dramas, we can see bribery, which is a bad thing. Please don't bribe someone. Like in the K-drama Penthouse, for example, so we're in a bad, let's say bad person bribes someone just for that person to get the favor for him or her, okay? So don't bribe someone. But bribing can also be in a good way. For example, you say buy one get one for free, okay? Or let's say discounts, sale. If you go to mall or sale, we are easily persuaded to buy something which are on sale. Some things which are on sale, or on buy one get one for free. And then there's intensify. You really highlight, exaggerate all the positive modifiers you can use to this product just for the people to buy the product. And then there's repetition. Essentials for better stamina, essentials for better health. So you keep on repeating the word essential, wherein the word essential could refer to the name of the product itself. So that is one way. There are very varied techniques on how to persuade the people to buy your products, and these techniques are very important, especially if you enter the field of commerce, wherein you have to sell. Let's say you need sales stock, so that's a very important one. We also have types of advertisement: one, political ad, event ad, product ad, and so on. And how much persuasive speech can indeed contribute to whatever you are advertising, be it political ad, event ad, or product ad. I think you are familiar already what a persuasive speech is, right? A persuasive speech is delivered when you try to convince someone of something. So here, in this kind of speech, you take a clear, specific position on an issue and then present a call for the audience to take action or accept the position or stand. We can often hear this type of speech from politicians who want or who convince us to vote for them. Okay, that's an example of a persuasive speech. Okay, we have here, I also presented here techniques for you, for your persuasive skill to improve. I hope you read these. And with the task on selecting a product or brand, wherein two products or brands, wherein you are to compare the two. First commercial for the first product and then another commercial for another product. But they are, of course, have to be on the same product but different brands. Just like, for example, for toothpaste, you choose the product on toothpaste and then comparing the brand, commercial brand on Colgate and then Close Up, okay? Because we cannot compare two different products. So you should choose one product having different brands, okay? So for the third quarter, this one here, this is here about Myanmar literature. I presented here the history of Myanmar literature, and I presented to you the rice pounding songs, that is the folk songs from Burma translated by Yukan Sao. So wherein each stanza, as you can see, is very independent. They're independent from each other, but they talk about a common theme, talking about the culture of Myanmar, specifically on their lifestyle, okay? Their lifestyle that has cultural implications. I hope you also read this one because it's a nice literature, a nice work of literature. I gave you here questions to answer, like what is the general sense of the poem, okay? Questions like, are the stanzas related to each other, and so on. I hope you already answered this task as well. For the fourth chunk, I presented to you the figurative language. Aside from the figures of speech that I presented here, namely assonance, alliteration, consonants, onomatopoeia, cliche, idiom, euphemism, and so on, I also ask you for the task to identify at least 3 more examples of figurative language, because we have more aside from what I have presented in this material. We have more, okay? Like simile, metaphor. I hope you did cite more, at least 3, wherein you provide the meaning or its function, okay? Like hyperbole, for example, it is an exaggeration. So, and then you provide an example like, this person made me cry a river. Of course, no one can ever cry a river, but it's hyperbole. It means exaggerating something to emphasize that that's how much this person hurt you, that he or she made you cry a river, which is actually impossible. So that is why it's called figurative language, because the meaning is not literal, okay? It's very deep. It's beyond the language or the word itself. The meaning is beyond the language or word. I even presented here to you Magbayo, which is also a Tagalog folk song. Counterpart. This is a counterpart of the rice pounding song from Myanmar, okay? But this one is from Philippines, and then I ask you to try translating the song above. But that was just a practice. What I will record is your answer here for providing of at least 3 more examples of figurative language. I think in our everyday lives, we also make use of the figurative language. We may be unaware of it, but on Facebook, on social media, whenever we communicate with someone, we are unconsciously making use of those figurative language. Okay? For the latest chunk 5, for the latest chunk, I presented to you a topic on delivering a persuasive speech. Though we already had this persuasive technique in the first chunk, I mean in the previous chunk, but then here again I'm emphasizing, highlighting here persuasive speech, wherein the contents are more and more about persuasive speech, and your task was to deliver and record your speech delivery on the speech about equal partnership in marriage. But I gave you the chance, wherein here in instruction 2, you may choose another persuasive speeches that suit your topic. I gave you the chance, the right to choose your own topic, whatever you are interested in. And then your very task is for you to record, deliver, and then record your speech, okay? So I even gave you the scoring a rubric for your recorded speech delivery, so you will know what to focus on, okay? So I modified this because, well, with the last year's activity for delivery, speech delivery, it was for a face-to-face setup, okay? But since we are in a virtual setup, I added tips for in the first pages, tips that would suit to a virtual setting, okay? I think I had that. I couldn't find, but I know you read that part, okay? And so on. So those are your chunks 1 to 5. Next week, I will be providing more activities, which I hope you will be having fun with. And just please, I encourage everyone to keep on reading the materials, okay? I've been trying also as well to lighten the tasks that I'm giving you and to summarize whatever I could summarize, and then just choose the contents which I think are very much of use to your part. So I hope you appreciate it as well, okay? Thank you, and God bless. Be safe, everyone.